I hacked mobility for 20 years, and here's the best of what I discovered and the top moves for masterful mobility from head to toe, even if you're 17 or 70 years old, so you can become a well-oiled machine. First key is building 3 times the strength and flexibility you need as a buffer for athletics or for daily life. We'll cover the entire body in 4 simple sections on this video. Last will be thoracic and lumbar spine. This is literally what we use for all ages and all levels for Powerbatics training at Pacific Rim Athletics, so we can sustain high levels of strength and skill. So it'll work for just about anybody. First, the neck and shoulders. Circles, all directions, side to side. It's designed to glide. It's also designed for strength. A study was conducted among breakdancers when it was thought that they'd have damaged necks from head spins. The study revealed stronger, more resilient necks in this area. I don't recommend going and starting head spins today, but I do recommend strengthening in greater ranges of motion than you'd think. I once saw a 50 to 60-year-old looking guy at Lower Oracle Gym in Las Vegas when we were there for a team training, doing headstands on a stack of chairs. The daring fear wasn't the impressive part. He was harnessed in for safety, but rather it was the sustainability of strength when 80% of the population says they're too old. That's my goal whenever I get to 60 or 70 years old, like the Shaolin monks and students of Pacific Rim Athletics. Many of them are my heroes. Here's the deal with mobility though. It's strength and flexibility combined. Just being hyper flexible will lead to injuries the same way that hyper strength and lack of flexibility will. Just starting with high volume movement though, especially for non-athletic individuals, is the best. This is very general terms, okay? But high volume, light strength work pumps blood through the parent muscle to the connective tissue that often does not have its own dedicated supply. That's very general terms, okay? After time, then perhaps neck bridging, headstands, and even head spins. And obviously, don't mistake videos for instruction. Now the shoulders, the most complicated, beautiful, and easily injured joint. One of the big 3, in addition to spine and hips. Easiest and most effective thing to do is dowel stretches in a variety of ways. Because the joint is literally a ball and socket. Same as you could swing a socket wrench around in circles, your shoulders should be able to do the same thing, like an arm windmill, or a hollow back handstand, or a muscle up. The rubber bands holding everything together though, like the bicep tendon, supraspinatus, infraspinatus, pectoralis, and everything else often gets so bound up, and it even shortens in length with lack of use and or lack of flexibility. Sometimes the shoulders are too flexible, and then we need to strengthen them. This is where that high volume work comes in, especially band work from all angles. Just think about every single direction you can or should be able to move your shoulder. Connect a band and go for 50 to 100 reps in that extended position. What often happens though is that people try this stuff and then give up or quit because they either are doing it off by fractions of an inch, hurting themselves more, or even worse, wasting a bunch of time because they're not in the right spot. Get objective eyes, especially for your most important goals. And subscribe so you don't miss any of the training all of our top students receive. Also, if you opt in, you'll get access to more resources, PDFs, and even competitions and special events around the world. One is coming up in Spain. Now the limbs, starting with the wrists. Oh my goodness, have we heard about the wrists? Push-ups, L-stands, let alone handstands. We have a short wrist series that we do every day. Again, we look at all the angles they are supposed to move and realize that there's connective tissue that's holding it all together. So if you have over flexibility or under strength in any angle, issues are going to arise. And there's also overtraining, which makes up a huge percentage of our clientele. Over time, with just consistency, wrists and everything else will adapt if the mind is willing and creates consistent, correct training across all aspects. Faith plus work, stuff like that. So something people do again and again that damages wrists is doing push-ups on soft mats or carpet in their home, and they don't realize they need the opposite too. Back of wrist planks and push-ups and planches. Otherwise, you're just creating imbalances and wonder, why do my wrists hurt? The fingers should also be good and flexible with strength in full ranges of motion. Then you're doing handstands at all angles like all of our Powerbatics students. But it's so important to make sure you're doing it correctly, okay? Because what usually happens is people will do it wrong or too much of a good thing or some other issue and not make the progress they want. You also have to work 10 times harder than you think you need to for a lot of this stuff. And this transfers over to all of life. Now, the ankles and toes. Just like the wrist, we want omnidirectional function and strength. Toe sit, shin sit, knuckle sit, ankle butterfly. Just a few of the basics, okay? But don't go and overdo a good thing. I'll combine straight arm and straight leg. What's an arm injury you or someone you know had besides a broken arm? Probably torn bicep, right? From lifting stuff or doing a sport or recreation. Guess the reason yet? Bicep is short and tendons are weak. On the other hand, there's also a fad going around about straight arm strength and doing hyperextended planches and back levers and Malteses, and I've heard so many stories about guys tearing biceps doing stuff on rings like that, or amateurs trying stuff like back lever to Maltese, and kaboom. I talked to Blaine Wilson a long time ago about his bicep tear on rings, which happened right before Olympic trials. Anyway, there's a balance that's necessary, especially for sustainability. So back to arms and legs. What's the move you think of on rings for arms? The iron cross. This trains shoulders and biceps because everything is connected, and there's half your body weight times the length of your arm of pounds of pressure on your shoulder in an iron cross. A 150-pound person times 25 inches equals almost 1,800 pounds per square inch on the shoulder. Similar loads for back lever on the bicep tendons. Not quite that much for planche, especially if they bend a little where more pressure goes to triceps, but still high forces. If you want to train biceps and the smaller recruiter muscles of the arms, plus the shoulders and lats, you could train iron cross with high volume with a band, which is excellent for long-term health and strength. However, I don't advocate bands for beginners though, because bands actually require superior body awareness. Just learn straight arm supports first, but that's more strength focused rather than mobility. At any level, however, a person can use bands when the bands are not supporting their body. You see what I mean? You see the difference? For arm, shoulder, and elbow connective tissue mobility, a person could easily simulate iron crosses and back levers with band work in a simple setup like this. We do the same for legs as well. For example, the leg iron cross. It's all about putting connective tissue under load, where you have to control the weight. A bad habit people have though is overdoing it or not doing enough. Don't sit in the pit of lack of progress, but also don't go overboard. Objectivity makes a huge difference. Now hips, and simultaneously knees. The W sit for internal rotation of hips. Yes, you're loading your inner knee with weight, but it is delicate since you have the use of your hands too. Lotus for external rotation. Again, your knees will feel it because it's part of the same system. This kind of mobility literally saved my knee when I did a two-step wall backflip half turn, slipped and landed in a W sit. I always say this, it's better to have 3 times the strength and flexibility you need than 3 times less. Then you have good mobility all around. And now the fourth and final section, the spine. But there's also a bonus section afterwards, okay? All right, where does pain usually occur? Lower back, right? The rest of the spine is designed to move. The bottom, the base, is not so much. But that's where most movement goes when the rest lacks mobility. Each vertebrae has facets and a disc. This complex area can degenerate for a variety of reasons. Best thing to do is move it in all directions. Easiest to start working on is bridge, torso rotations, and front folding. All athletic movement, and heck, daily life, originates from the midsection. If it's mobile and strong, then you're at lower risk. Simple as that. And remember my saying to be 3 times as flexible and strong than you need to be? This is especially true for your core. And remember that mobility is the combination of flexibility and strength. A couple core moves to aspire to are V-stand, meat hook, and human flag, okay? But it starts with basics like bridging and torso circles. Then there's arch hold, hollow hold, hanging wipers, reverse leg extensions, etc., which is a sampling of excellent spine work and that can be done at high volume. Try the arch hold challenge for 100 seconds. Arms extended, fingers straight, legs together, feet straight. Only thing touching the ground is your stomach. And then flipping over the other way, unweighted body rolls. Given that this opens up the entire posterior chain, including spine and hamstrings, I'll have students stand there for 2, 3, even 5 minutes straight. Again, don't go trying this stuff and getting hurt. You know what's better than your own eyes in a mirror? Objective eyes and the blunt truth. And you know it's true. I know it's true. I hate it, but I know it's true. And you know what else is true? Nothing lasts forever. Even Google. So subscribe, and even more importantly, opt in so you can stay connected and not miss any of the trainings all of our top students receive. Bonus section. Let's say you're not getting a skill. You're sort of stuck, or you have pain when you're training. Usually it'll be one of 3 things. Number 1, lack of mobility. It could stem from an area down the kinetic chain, like tight latissimus dorsi causing back pain from too many pull-ups and not enough human flag work. Number 2, it could be that mindset is negative and overanalyzing all the negative instead of messaging your wife or your husband about the millimeters and milliseconds of progress. I know I do. I would send messages to my wife of double backflips on high bar. And sometimes if I'm down, she'll remind me of what's important and positive. Number 3, and to be as gentle as possible, you or those around you need to work harder. And sometimes that's what it boils down to. Check the 5 closest people around you. Make sure you're in a good community of positive, hard-working people, be it with this stuff in physical training or anything else in life. And then work hard. Easier to work hard when people around you are working hard too. Now opt in so you don't miss any of the trainings all of our top students receive, and subscribe to make serious progress. There's videos coming up on the screen that are designed to help you, and I'll see you in the next video and in training soon.